Cardiff City Expats Club is a non-profit social organisation and our speakers are volunteers. The club as such assumes no responsibility or liability for the professional reputation of or the quality of services provided by the speaker today.
G'day and Swaddy Kab. Well, today I'm here with Alen Gaskell, who has had a long and distinguished career as a sports presenter, as a sports commentator, and reading the news, and it was a wonderful journey. And of course, I shouldn't be doing the interview. You should be interviewing me, right? But could you do a sort of ABC interview, introduction to this sort of interview?
This is an interview with Ren Zander, and my name is Alen Gaskell, and I think Ren's going to ask me a few questions about which I've already spoken, but this is a one-on-one, and it's my pleasure to answer whatever Ren asks me.
So, and it was a wonderful talk. You have to listen to the actual talk. So, this is Ren Zander here with an interview with Alen. Sorry.
You're sounding very professional.
We couldn't have that. Don't want to show you up. So, Alan's had a wonderful and amusing thing. And one of the stories that you have to share in this short interview is the story about the person who got caught by a hot mic.
Oh, picture this. I'm presenting a national sports radio program around Australia and also around the world on Radio Australia shortwave. We had a commentator in Sydney called Jeff Marnie, wonderful man, one of the old school gentlemen. But Jeff's problem was he swore a lot.
He was a true Aussie.
Well, he was a true Aussie, but
that sort of Aussie.
But he swore a lot.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're near a microphone, you've got to be pretty careful. So this particular day at Randwick, big program of racing at Randwick Racecourse, one of the great racecourses of the world, as you know, Ren. It went something like this. 10 minutes past 12 on ABC Radio Grandstand. Great to have your company. Saturday afternoon, a great program at Randwick. 8 races, 4 Group 1s. The first is the Jim Crack Stakes. And for his call on race 1 at Randwick, let's go out to the track and say hello to Jeff Marnie. What's this bloody fucking thing? I can't fucking say that. Well, we're obviously not quite ready for Jeff at the moment. We have a technical issue. We'll go back to Jeff in just a moment. That was one of the...
The technical issue was that the microphone worked, right?
That's exactly right. True story, Ren. True story. But funnily enough, the ABC switchboard was jammed with people wanting to comment on what they heard. And I think of all the calls we got, there were only 2 that said, I think that was disgraceful what that man said. The rest were, how fabulous it was to hear him just expressing his own feelings.
Just letting it all hang out.
True story. That was a very funny day.
And you had a lot of highlights. I mean, you talked at the Sydney 2000 Olympics. You commentated.
Look, I've had the Sydney Games were fabulous. I was lucky enough to do the gymnastics and the weightlifting. Sydney was a world city before 2000, but Ren, the Sydney Organising Committee put on a fabulous Olympic Games. One thing I didn't mention in my speech was during my time at SBS in 1993, that was the year that Juan Antonio Samaranch announced the venue for the 2000 Games. Yeah, I was in a paddock in the western suburbs of Sydney on a freezing cold September night, and we were all at the various venues expecting the host city to be named. And I was there when Juan Antonio Samaranch, this now classic quote, and said, and the winner is Sydney.
Yes, Sydney.
And that went viral. But the Sydney Games, Ren, Sydney was a joyous city. You know, the Cathy Freeman Medal, the opening ceremony, the closing ceremony.
I performed at the opening and closing ceremony too. Part of dancing.
And look, there was a lot of controversy about the Games being in Sydney in September, as you know, because it can be very cold and miserable in Sydney in September.
It was beautiful.
It's not spring until the 23rd of September, the equinox. As you know, Ren, the weather in Sydney was, well, I think we had one miserable day out of the 2 weeks. The weather was stunning. So there was some kind of divine intervention.
Yeah, no, the weather was beautiful for the whole thing. So, look, we could probably sit here and chinwag for like an hour about, because I'm Australian, Aussie.
And I'm a Kiwi.
Yeah, well, you know,
Sort of
he's an honorary Australian sometimes, yeah. I could trot out my New Zealand jokes now, but I'm not going to. And, yeah, I want to have a look at the talk. The talk is fantastic, and he's such a natural talker. But one of the things you say that really had a big influence on you happened during your failed university degree time.
Well, it gave me time to enter debating, and it gave me time to enter my love in politics. And debating was something that I always wanted to do. And I became the chairman of the local National Party club, the National Party Political Club. And that was so good to me, Ren, because it just made me, it just reinforced my love for the microphone and my love to be able to get up and speak without notes about any subject that would be put in front of me.
Yeah, I did debating at high school and I studied improvisational acting.
A great platform for public speaking.
Alrighty, well, unfortunately, we can't just take up the rest of your day chinwagging about Australia and public speaking, etc. So it's goodbye and sweaty cup from me, and a very proper sign-off from the ABC announcer here.
Alen Gaskell for ABC News.